we're running it back, but this is going to be so many spoilers.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert now.
Yeah. All hail Kier, a Severance episode. If you're not watching Severance like religiously like the rest of us, I would go somewhere.
If you ever plan on watching Severance, don't listen to this episode.
Yeah. This is all going to be all about Severance up until the newest episode, which was episode
5.
Yeah. Okay.
We just did episode 5. So yeah, the Ortbo happened not this past episode, but the one before that.
If you happen to have just listened to our episode of the podcast, Alex started to ask a question and I kind of cut us off. Yeah. So go ahead, Alex. What was your question?
All right. So we're season 2, episode 4 is, I think, one of the greatest episodes of TV ever, where they're in the Ortbo and they're out in the national park. Were you one of the people who believed, because it was talked about a lot on the internet?
It was.
But did you believe Helly was a mole and she was her outie the whole time?
Yeah. I spend a lot of time on Threads, and right now my Threads is completely taken over by Severance talk. Literally. Sure. And we have been pretty religious that we watch it every Friday night. So luckily I haven't, like, nothing has been spoiled. It's just been a lot of like theories. And from early on, there was like a lot of people being like, did you notice that when everybody goes in, there's that ding? You know, they're like, okay, Mark has the ding, Irvin has the ding, everybody has the ding. They're like, if you listen, they're like, we're not 100% sure that there was a ding for Helly.
There wasn't.
And yeah,
but I thought that was because the sound from the ambient sound from the scene was fading out. So I just thought like, oh yeah, there's a swell in the music, the ambient sound goes down. It makes sense. But like, I even remember after episode 1, she fumbles with her computer to find the on switch. And they like, there's a shot of her hand searching for the on switch. And they're like, she's a mole, just from that. And I'm like, chill. I actually didn't believe that she was a mole. I did not believe that theory until she said, just do it, Seth, in that episode.
Really? Oh no. I was like, there's like also like this change of like character too. Like I feel like if you really listen to her, she speaks so differently. She also just like the face, like she does, that was something that a lot of people were watching or like talking about online, was like her facial expressions is so different, and it's amazing how she changes them between Helly and Helene, right? Is that Helene? Helena. Like how she changes like her face and the way she like looks at people, and like even just like her, like you can see it in her eyes, is so different. And I thought when she went in to talk to Irv in the tent, and he was like not having it, and he was like go ahead, tell us like what happened, because I was also very like, I didn't understand why she would lie about what she saw.
Yeah, well, and I don't even understand why Helena did that. Just seemed like a bad idea on her part. Like it was just a bad move. But I think for me, because I spend so much time on Reddit, and everybody has a different theory of like, oh, Rickon is secretly severed, or Miss Cobell is secretly severed. And I'm like, no, probably not.
I don't trust Rickon. I think that there's something going on there.
I think Rickon's just dumb. And I love him. Every word that comes out of his mouth. I've never seen a character on a TV show that has such a great batting average for their jokes. Just every word that Rickon says, I love.
I don't understand how I think Mark's sister is such a catch, and Rickon is such a dopey dude. And not to say you can't swing out of like your league, but like they just don't feel like the same person either, which is also like, I'm like, why? But I did see the other day that people are like, if you read his like book thing that they put out on like Apple, it like, I guess like you kind of get some background as to maybe why they're together. I saw
from his perspective.
Yeah, I don't know, but I haven't read it. Did you read it?
Yeah, well, I listened to the audiobook.
Oh,
he narrates the audiobook. It is, don't read it. Just listen to him narrate the audiobook. It's an hour. It's so funny.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
it's an hour.
I don't necessarily trust him. I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about who's the girl who presented.
Natalie?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about Natalie too.
Oh, I think she's the most evil person on the show,
Do
and I love
you?
it.
Do you? Okay, because there's a lot of talk about like when she presented those pictures and like people like were trying to decide like did she feel some sort of way? Obviously, it's really weird to have these pictures presented and Kier be like re like represented as a black man and like
Oh yeah,
how odd that must have felt for I keep calling him milkshake.
Milkshake. That's his name.
Yeah,
Yes, Milkshake.
and how that must have made him feel and like did Natalie feel the same way of like how that like was portrayed and how like just like a lot of people were like it didn't taste good, you know? So did she feel
I
the same way that milkshake felt receiving that present?
I mean, speaking as someone who has never had a lived experience of being a person of color, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
probably she does, but I
Yeah.
think she's so emblematic of like she's part of a really oppressive system,
Mm-hmm.
and she's very much just following orders
Yeah.
and so scared to not follow orders
Yeah.
that I think that is why that's what's evil about her, is that she
So
is a
structured.
very efficient cog in that machine,
Mm-hmm.
whereas everyone else, like Helena, you can see that there's a side to her that perhaps doesn't like who she is,
Mm-hmm.
and Harmony Cobell is up to something.
Yeah, I don't know what the
and
fuck is happening with her.
and Milkshake is a little, he's starting to falter a bit in this last episode. You could see moments where, oh, maybe he actually does care
Well,
in a
and
weird way.
him going to ask her too again about the pictures
Yeah.
again made me be like he has some thoughts and some feelings about what's going on, I think.
Yeah, and the only two characters, like her and Miss Huang, but I think there's something tragic going on with Miss Huang.
Who the fuck is
Um,
this child?
so I saw a really interesting theory that, so you know how they have Gemma on the exports floor,
Uh-huh.
um, and they're doing some sort of experiment. Mark is involved with it with
Uh-huh.
Cold Harbor.
Uh-huh.
She, quote unquote, died in a car crash.
Uh-huh.
Well, Miss Huang's last job was a crossing guard.
Uh-huh.
So I think there are some people that think that Miss Huang is actually like the first prototype in whatever the people on like in MDR are doing with like the brain chips. So
Mm-hmm.
they like resuscitated her to be the ideal employee via like macro data refinement. And because she was hit by a car as a crossing guard, there's like also a lot of themes.
Oh.
There are in the wider Severance lore, because there was the Lexington letter last season where like the that Ben Stiller wrote, that was like kind of about another macro data refinement team elsewhere
Mm-hmm.
that they believe caused a car accident, and the person who was writing it became severed because she couldn't get over a car accident that she caused on while driving a bus.
Ah.
So I think there's going to be a theme of car accidents and whatever the heck MDR is doing, and I think Miss Huang is going to be part of that.
But I was like, I wonder if, because I'm like somewhat convinced that they are doing some kind of like weird cloning thing.
Mm.
I also am of the mindset that because what do you think, or who do you think is the board? Because I'm convinced the board is AI. That it
You think the board
is.
is AI?
Mhm. And I think
Oh,
that's why you never hear them. I think that's why it's only talked through Natalie. I think that's why all of their like responses are very like short term. Like it's kind of like if you ever like have you ever asked like Chat GBT to like write something for you, and how it's very like it's obvious that a computer wrote it. And when Natalie speaks, she's like, "Oh, the board says thank you." And it's like to me it's very cut and dry, and I think that could be played in because like they don't want to like show any like emotion.
mhm.
But I also think like she's hearing like a very like structured something.
I I almost wonder, and I've seen this theory, if it's the consciousness of every past like Egan owner of
Mm.
Lumen,
Uh-huh.
because at the end of season one, um, the current CEO, what's his James or
Uh-huh.
Jamie Egan,
Uh-huh.
tells Helly, "I want you by my side at my revolving." And I thought like that revolving is however he's going to join the board. That's what I thought it was.
Oh. Interesting.
'Cause
Oh my God. Also,
also,
also, I saw a thing that said, what if okay, so you know how when they're outside and he's reading the book and they're like there's Kier and his brother.
yeah,
I saw something that was like, what if Kier was the first severed person and his brother was his
any or
is one of the other. I can't remember if it was his innie or his outie. And they had like a reason for it. And that one, I was like, whoa, that's
that
kind
would
of
be pretty wild.
crazy.
That would be wild.
Uh,
Um, either that, and I've also seen people be like, "Oh, this is like they invent the brother to talk about some aspect of Kier's life, right? Because that whole parable was like, don't masturbate, right? That was,
that whole thing was wild. Her being like he masturbated, and I was like, whoa, did not expect it to go that way.
yeah. Well, and like it shows that's another clue I think that they gave that Hallie was Helena
Mm-hmm.
because she had the media literacy and the context to be able to think critically like that, whereas the innies were just like, this is the only literature we know besides the you are.
Mm-hmm.
So like to be able to say, oh, well, this is the plot and this is what those words mean at a
Mm-hmm.
deeper level, that is kind of ridiculous. That whereas like that is gospel to the
Yeah.
innies.
I think that's another thing too, is that I was just thinking of is like telling the difference between Helly and like the Indian Audi is like if you watch also the way she walks and stands with Helen, she like
Mhm.
she acts as if she's CEO. She walks with a like her shoulders a bit more like up,
Mhm.
like she stands a bit taller. But if you watch this episode when Helly comes back, she shrugs a bit more and she walks
Yeah.
very like kind of like low key. And that one was also something that I picked up on pretty quickly, that I was like, she just doesn't feel like the same person. But what also is wild is that Mark had sex with the Audi. And
Yeah.
I think that's I don't think that it's I don't think that was an accident. I think that was planned on Helly's part, well, Audi's part, because I think I think there's some kind of like needs to be pregnant to continue the Egan line.
Perhaps. Yeah. There could be that. I think yeah, that there's going to be ramifications for him doing that, and
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a good chances that she's going to get pregnant.
Mm-hmm. I think it was purposeful. I have a hard time deciding whether or not I think she actually has feelings for him.
I think she does.
Yeah.
I think she grew up in such a structured, controlled environment to see her innie have this sort of wild life that she
Uh-huh.
can't. And then like I think she's at least intrigued by the physical relationship that she and Mark were fostering.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we'll see if that continues at all now that he feels some kind of way and he's getting reintegrated and all that jazz, which I was surprised that they reintegrated him so quickly.
Yeah. Same.
But I think that is not the last time any Mark will speak to Audi Helena,
Yeah.
and I don't think that is the last time we are going to have to contend with the like like the ramifications and implications of that scene of
Mm-hmm.
them having sex. I mean, Milkshake already brought it up at the end of the scene in the elevator was tense as fuck.
Yeah, and oh my God, because it's also like it was really hard to keep up too with like okay, does Helly doesn't know because it was technically Helena, but was Mark severed or not severed at that Mark? So does outside Mark know? Did he know in that moment? And then Milkshake just brought it up and he was like, oh shit.
I don't think so because remember when there's a moment where he's looking at her and then she turns into Gemma really quick and then it flips back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that he's at the point of reintegration where his consciousness like goes like allides or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I think he's like the Audi Mark is just starting to see glimpses of Innie Mark's memories. And I also think there's a last episode, I feel like Innie Mark started acting a bit more like Outie Mark, and I don't know if that's because he is as traumatized now as Outie Mark is, or if their personalities are starting to collide a bit. And I think it's probably a combination of the two.
Yeah, it's been getting a bit tricky for me because I'm like, shit, who are we with right now? Because I don't know.
It's only going to get more brain melty.
Oh yeah, and I heard somebody talk about it the other day on the radio, and they were like, they didn't like it. They were like, I think this is it. Just they've lost me, and I'm like, no, but that's the whole point. That's what keeps me interested. Is I'm like, I don't know what's going on, and I like that part of it. I love that we're gonna get to the next episode, and we're gonna find out more of like how is Mark's integration going, and like all this stuff. So like it's to me, I like the mystery of it.
I hope that they end the show at the right time, in that like they don't try to extend it for more seasons than it needs to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I hope that they stick to like 3 seasons or whatever they said that they were going to do.
Yeah.
Just because like we don't want this to become the new Lost.
Yeah.
I want this to have a good, earned, justified ending that I can then watch the whole series and see the seeds of it planted in season 1.
Yeah.
Pay off in the final season. And we'll see.
I also don't. Okay, so they talk about. Remember when they were talking at the table with, I think it was with Natalie and Milkshake and that other guy that's like part of the board but not really or whatever, and they were talking about
Evil Rickon. Yes.
Huh?
Evil Rickon.
He kind of does look like Rickon.
A little bit.
So they were all talking about it, and he was like, yeah, well, Mark's almost done. He's at 80 something percent. He's like 80. And then when Mark goes to sit down, it shows the same name, and it shows he starts working towards it, and it's like 85% all of a sudden. And it's him doing his job in MDR. And I'm wondering, like, why is him doing his job with the whole like scary numbers thing lining up with whatever it is they want him to do? Because in my mind, I always thought it was just like whatever Mark was there for. But then I thought it was interesting that it might be him physically like boxing the scary, quote unquote, scary numbers.
Yeah, I think well, so I think it's important to remember there are 5 boxes on that screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there are and then within each box are the 4 tempers. And you see that there's percentages of each and which box they go into. And then I think you should remember that there are 5 brainwaves that Ragabi is talking about. So I think it's something to do with synthesizing the brainwaves. And he's obviously working on Gemma. And perhaps because it's Gemma that he's working on, Mark knowing Gemma quite well as an Outie, might be able to have some sort of subconscious association of memories and stuff. To help refine better. So I think it's him working on Gemma's chip to like refine it somehow. Either wipe it all away and make her a blank slate, or something else.
Oh, wouldn't that be crazy? They like finally find her, and she like Innie and Outie has no idea who he is. Like they've managed to like.
I think that's probable.
That'd be wild. I also saw a theory earlier on Threads that said that like Irv might be the real, like could be another mole or the real mole. Like what is going on with Irv? Because who is he talking to in that phone booth?
I don't think it's Ragabi.
Who's Ragabi?
I think it's Petey. That's my guess. I think he's calling Petey. Because he's said a number of times like
Ragabi is the girl that Mark's working with, right?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure.
I think it's Petey, and here's why. In season 1, you see Petey's phone ringing a lot, and he's never picking up. And Outie Irv, in the last episode, like in episode 5, he says, I don't know why you're not answering. So I think it's because Petey died. So Petey might have not only talking to Mark, but might have also reached out to Irving and told him about stuff. So I think it's going to be revealed that Irving was trying to work with Petey on stuff.
Because we've seen him I was trying to figure out if it was 2 times that we see him in the phone booth.
Twice.
Yeah,
Twice.
because then it's once we see him and he walks away, and then the second time is when we see him see Bert on the outside, which obviously we also didn't know that Bert didn't retire. He got canned.
He got canned, yeah. And I cannot wait for him to have dinner with Bert's husband.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be wild.
Yeah. So yeah, there's so many. I'm telling you, if you get on fucking Severance threads, it is like there's a lot of people who have really good theories, and some of them it's like really interesting to read, but then there's been a few of them that I've read and then it was really wild to watch them come true and be like, wow, y'all really picked up like the foreshadowing that people picked up on too, like them doing like the bobbing for apples and how similar it looked to Helly getting almost drowning, which was wild too.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the funhouse mirrors were supposed to be. I guess Irv's gone now, and I don't know if he's going to come back.
It's wild because he's on that trip, and then but Milchek made it sound like he was dead because he was like he's not coming back, but then we see him out talking to Bert.
Yeah, and I think the actor had made, like in interviews, had made some comment about like having had his fill of working on that set, like of the set of the Severance office. Mm-hmm. So I think he really didn't enjoy filming it. So I almost wonder if that's one of the reasons why Irv got written out so quickly, because there seems to be a lot of show left for a character to just go like that.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how they play him out, because like I said, like some people think he's a mole, and it's interesting what's happening in the box. I like your theory of it's what's his face though, because I think that could be a good one.
I would be really sad if they kind of leave Irv unexplored, because I don't think his character was done. Mm-hmm. Like there was a bunch of questions about his military past. Mm-hmm. About sort of why did he start whatever this anti-Lumon work did, like how did that come to be? What's his MO here?
Well, also why was he drawing pictures of, or why was he painting? Like how did his Audi? Why was his Audi painting something that only his innie knew about, or quote unquote, or was he like slightly defective of sorts that like he was having these flashbacks for whatever reason?
Well, I know that because they had the wellness sessions in season 1, mm-hmm. and that was obviously like checking the wellness of the chip. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you noticed that Irv's wellness session, he kept on finding certain facts like a little comical, like, being a good dancer and stuff. And I think that is an indication that like those statements are like, they're not checking the wellness of the person, they're checking the wellness of the chip.
Yeah.
So like I think that those were like indications that maybe his chip was a little defective. So
that is very, very interesting.
Irv had the most interesting mysteries to me in the show, and for him to just be taken off the board like that, mm-hmm. I'm like, I need answers.
Yeah, I kind of feel it's back and forth for me, because I also think that I think if they are going to just cut him off, I think they did a good job, at least for me, because him pouring everything into him being like, no, I will let y'all know that Helly is not Helly, and him taking that moment to be like, I will prove it, was big for me, because I was like, good for you, like knowing that this could be your final moment and being like, I will let y'all know that she is a mole, was great. And it was such a good scene. Like they did it just so well, because like him, like when she wakes up as Helly and he's like, I'm so sorry, like I am so sorry, like I was like, oh my god, and him just being like, Helly was never cruel, and I was like, wow, you really pieced that all together, good for you.
There's I think one plot line that we haven't talked about at all from this season yet is Dylan and his wife, and I think where this show's going is going to be a really interesting ethical question of like if you have some sort of romantic fraternization as an innie with your Audie's wife, is it cheating? Is it like an affair?
That is weird.
Is it? I think that could be where they're going with that, which I think would be wild.
Well, because I think I think any Dylan is who she married, and I
Yeah,
think Audi Dylan is somebody he has
it's become.
turned into that is no longer who she wants. So it's like, yeah, it is this like weird like is it cheating? Is it not cheating? Like, is it the same person or no? That's like when Helly was like, how dare she like use my body and take over my identity. I'm like, but it's you. Like, it is a weird like concept to try to try to wrap your head around.
Yeah, and the did you know, like, have you seen the comparisons of her and Pam Beasley
No,
from The Office?
no.
Her outfit from that's the scene, like the scene where she's meeting Innie Dylan,
Uh-huh.
and the outfit that Pam wears to her art show in like the episode of The Office where
Uh-huh.
like Roy comes and shits on the painting, and then Michael comes and tries to buy it from her,
Uh-huh.
and then she
I
hugs
love
him.
it.
Um, go look at those two. She's wearing the same outfit. And
Interesting.
even her demeanor, like I just rewatched that episode last night. Her demeanor is so Pam Beasley-ish. I'm like, wow, they just wanted Pam in the show, I
All
guess.
I could think of is if you watch New Girl,
Yep.
she is Schmidt's like girlfriend early on, like young Schmidt's girlfriend, and
Oh,
that's
really?
all I could see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is Schmidt's girlfriend? I think her name's Elizabeth or something, and yeah, that's.
Well, she's like an Emmy award-winning actress, right? Like
Oh, is
she's been
she?
in stuff. Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, all I could think of is Elizabeth from Smitch. But yeah, I think Dylan also has a very interesting
I think
line of events that are coming.
I can't wait. I can't wait for the rest of the season,
I
Lizzie.
think he also might be the one who's going to catch on that there's something going on with Mark
Oh, probably.
because I think he saw Irv do what Irv did and was probably a bit inspired, and now I think he's going to start taking into account of like what's going on and him. I can't remember what did he call Mark out for before they left the room. He called him out for a heli or something. Uh, so
Right.
I think there's just going to be a lot, and I thought it was really cool too, because how people picked up on this early on, I don't know, of Irv being like, "Hey, do me a favor and hang in there, Dylan."
And then it was behind the
Yeah, my
poster.
husband was like,
Yeah.
"Huh?" And I was like, "Oh my god, I saw this online before the episode came out of them being like, it's going to be a poster or something." And then
Well,
it
because
being
they show the poster in the first episode
do they?
of the
Oh,
season.
okay. Oh, well, there
Yeah.
you go. People picking that up, I was like, Jesus Christ, y'all are crazy. I find all of my theories and all my things on, like I said, threads.
For me, it's been Reddit. I've been on the Severance Reddit quite a bit,
I guess
and the Discord actually.
it's good because like I guess like it can't really be ruined because it is coming out episode by episode. So like because otherwise I'd be fearful. But I guess it's the same thing with like threads. Like people
Yeah,
are just theorizing.
I watched the episode the night it comes out. And I was watching with Jess, but then she fell asleep during episode 3 and still has not watched 3, 4, or 5. And
I
I'm
would
like,
be like,
Jess, you're missing
I
out.
can't. Yeah, I was gonna say, I would be like, I can't wait. I gotta
But
keep going.
I'm a little disappointed though, because we had plans to like have like a night where we make waffles and have a waffle party and watch it, and like have another night where we like have a melon bar, watch it, and it was going to be fun and cute.
Them bringing
You
out the
know,
melon head.
that was
I was
crazy.
like, oh my
That
god,
was kind of
this is
fucked.
weird. And then what's her face, Miss Wong, being like, you shouldn't do a funeral. It makes them feel like they're
Feel like they're
people.
people.
And I was like, wow, this is. I do think Milchek is leaning on the side of like trying to be like, I'm done with this. This is all. And wherever Miss Cobell went, because she left, I'm wondering if
She's
she's
gonna
going to
be
come
back.
back. Yeah, she's going to come back. And I kind of feel like she might come back. I can't decide. I don't know. I think she's going to come back as the hero, but she could either come back as a really, really good hero or a really fucking like trash like villain.
Yeah.
So
I think she's about done with Lumen. I
yeah.
think however she comes back, you're going to find out what's up with Charlotte Cobell, what's up with the mouthpiece, like the two.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Because they showed it again this season.
Uh-huh.
Um, and what's up with that town, because she saw the sign for the town and turned around.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's still some mysteries to be plumbed out of Harmony Cobell's character.
Yeah.
What a great TV show. What a great time to be alive, to be around for this TV show coming out.
Yeah, because they are absolutely killing it. Absolutely killing it. I would love to hear y'all's thoughts. So feel free to I don't know how to say drop a comment, because this will never probably see the light of day on, like, maybe I'll put like a few different clips up on Twitter about it, but I'm not trying to ruin anybody's Severance time. So just, ponder yourself or ponder the thoughts of Severance if you are listening along with us. And this will not be the last Severance episode. I'm sure we'll have more as the season continues and gets crazier and crazier. So I hope you guys enjoyed us just absolutely bounce fucking ping pongs off a wall for 30 minutes. But yeah, enjoy Severance, and we'll talk to you guys more about Severance soon.